Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to see an interesting topic from JavaScript, which is functions. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing so you won't miss any future content. Now let's jump into the video. Yes, so let's know about what is function. Functions are nothing but a piece of code or block of code which we can run at any time in our code, and it is a complete reusable. So suppose we have a function which is doing addition operation. Okay, it will have two numbers and it will just do uh, plus or like addition, and it will give the output. Okay, so this piece of code we can use anywhere in our code without having multiple times written. Okay, we can write it once and we can use multiple times, and in order to run this particular code we have to call that method. Okay, so once we call that method it will going to execute the output. Okay, so let's jump into the code and let's see how we can create functions and use it. Okay. Yes. So let's see how we can define a function in JavaScript. For that, what we have to do is first we have to use function keyword. After that, we have to give a name to that function. Okay. So I'll say print hello, and then you have to use a curly parenthesis. After that, curly braces you have to give. Okay, so and whatever code you write inside these curly braces can be reusable by calling this particular method. Okay, or function we can say. Here we are going to just print this value as hello world. Okay, and yeah, so this is it. This is about defining a function. Now let's see how we can call this function out. Calling means how to access this particular function on how to print this. Okay, so for that what you have to do is you have to write here hello, print hello, and you have to give the function call, and that's it. And if I run this file it will going to print this particular thing. Okay, so let's comment on this calling one and let's try to run this file and let's see what exactly will going to happen. Okay, if we don't do any calling thing. Okay, so let me scroll up, and here we can use node.js to run that. And yep, now you see as we didn't call anything, it's just a function, so it will not going to directly print anything until unless you call this out. Then only the whatever content or the code is there inside this block will going to run. Okay, so let's remove this comment and let's run this again. Okay, now you see it printed hello world. Okay, and now what I can do is I can use multiple times, and this will going to print this multiple times, so I don't need to write this code multiple times. Now you see everything is coming twice, like multiple times how I have called. Okay, so the amount of calls you gave, same thing it will going to print that. Okay. Yes. Now let's see one of the feature of this function which we have. We can provide the user values, or we can provide few values. With the help of that it will going to process that value and give us the output back. Okay, so what we call them as parameters and arguments. Okay, let's see what exactly those. So for that let's create a function, and I'm creating one function which will going to add two values and give us the output of it. Okay, so I'll say add two numbers. This is the function name and this is the function call. Okay, no, that's a block. Okay, function block. And here in this parenthesis we can write the parameters. Okay, so what I'll say parameter as a and b. So we are expecting to get a and b value. With that we're going to process it and we're going to return the output. Okay, so I'll say here the total of a and b is, and comma a plus b I'll going to write here. Okay, so this is the number, this is the function which is going to expect two values and it will going to return addition of both numbers. Okay, now let's call this out. Okay, so in order to call it we can write the function name here and parentheses. Okay, now you see if I go here now, if I do this, now you see add two numbers, it is saying a and b value. Okay, inside this parameter. So whenever you have this function during the definition, right? This is the definition of the function, and whatever values you provide inside this parenthesis call as parameters, okay? And whenever you are calling this function and providing the values, that is called as arguments, okay? So 2 comma 3, if I say these are the arguments of this function and these are the parameters of this function, okay? A comma b is the parameter of the function and these are the argument, okay? Argument is when you are calling a function, when you are defining a function, that is mean by parameters here, okay? A comma b. Now if I run this, it will going to print uh, 2 plus 3, which is 5, okay? So this whole console, it will going to be printed. Now let's see, I'll clear this console and let's print it up. Now you see it's giving us value, the total of A and B is 5, okay? This way we can do. And let's suppose one more time I want it, suppose 10 comma 12, and it will again going to do for that as well. And again if I want 5 comma 6, this way. So here we have written only one code, okay? And we are trying to do three things, like 2 comma 3 I want to add, 10 comma 12, 5 comma 6. So here it is providing reusability. We don't need to write this like here multiple times. We have written only single time and it can be run from anywhere. We can run this, okay? And it is providing completely reusability, so that we don't need to define it again, okay? So now you can see we got 5, we got 22, we got 11, okay? So this is how the function works, okay? Yes. So let's see one more last example from functions, okay? So functions can return the values as well, okay? Earlier in this one, in this example, we are directly printing inside this. But if you want to do one thing, like if you are providing the value and you want to get the value or like the addition of it outside of it, that also you can do with the return statement, okay? So what we'll do is we'll have one function and I'll say multiply two numbers, okay? Now let's have multiply two number, and here I can have a comma b, okay? Because I want two numbers to be multiplied. And here what you can do is instead of having console log, you can have return statement, okay? So return a into b, okay? So what it will going to do is it will just calculate this value and it will going to return it outside, okay? So it will not going to print here. But what we can do is whenever we call it, uh, suppose this way, multiply two number 10 comma 12, okay? Or let's just go simple 2 comma 3, okay? So now it will going to multiply and it will going to return the result to this particular call, okay? So now you see if I print this, we are going to get simply nothing. Let's print this. You see we are not getting anything because we need to capture this value somewhere in a variable, okay? For that what we can do is we can at the start we can create here number equal to multiply, okay? So earlier we are calling directly because that time it's just printing the console log, but whenever it's returning a value, we need to have a variable to store this value, okay? So that's why I'm creating this, and after this during the initialization I'm giving this value, okay? So now what will happen is this number will going to initialize and this method will going to be called, okay? And once the result come back, it calculated and it returns to this particular method, and it will going to store in this number, okay? So and we can verify by consoling as well. So I'll say number here, and now let's go and print or run this file, okay? Now you see we are getting a result as 6, okay? So what it's doing is simple, okay? So we have a function which is accepting two parameters a comma b, and it is multiplying both of them and just returning it, okay? Returning it. And once we call this function, we have like two arguments 2 comma 3, and it's we are calling it here, okay? So whenever it's return the value, we need some variable to store it. For that reason we are adding this thing, let number equal to, that's it, okay? So if we add this one, that time what will happen is whatever is returning, whatever this function is returning, that can be captured inside this variable, and that we can access it outside of the function as well, okay? For that reason we can have return and we can use this way, okay? Yes. So this is about the functions in JavaScript. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing and give it a like. I'll be back with more content in the next video. Thank you.